This is the limited edition Kid Goku figure from SH Figuarts, a reissue of a popular Dragon Ball character that fans and newcomers need to get their hands on. In this video, I'll share my first impressions of this figure and cover everything you need to know, from the details to accessories and much more. What's up geeks, Kirk here, and welcome to the Geek Effect. In September of 2023, Bandai opened the doors to their flagship Tamashii Nation store in New York. This would be an in-person experience for figure collectors and fans of the brand to get some of the brand's new releases and more, including some store exclusives. These exclusives included a variety of things such as Godzilla, Gundam, Sailor Moon, and Dragon Ball, which we'll be discussing today. I haven't watched the original Dragon Ball anime, but since I plan to, I figured this would be the perfect figure to get my hands on. I have tested out SH Figuarts Son Goku from Superhero, which was a pretty interesting figure, and I figured it would be nice to backtrack a bit and get some characters from the older series. Quick shout out though to Articulated Heroes over on Instagram, who actually picked this one up for me since I couldn't make it to the store's grand opening. Now let's check this thing out. Some people who enjoy seeing their figures inside the box may be disappointed to learn that there are no plastic windows on this one, as seen with the original release and other SH Figuarts figs. However, I dig the sleek black box that they chose. It kind of reminds me of what they did with the Across the Spider-Verse exclusives. The front of the box shows the figure with the Tamashii Nation store logo and other info, while the back shows a fuller image of Kid Goku. There isn't much else going on with the box but some text on the side and top, plus some cautionary info. Upon opening the box, you will find the figure, accessories, and instruction manual inside. With everything unpacked, I think Kid Goku comes with a pretty nice offering. You've got a variety of faces, hands, and his signature weapon, but most importantly, we have Kid Goku himself. At first glance, this figure does a solid job of capturing the character's appearance. For a smaller character, I'm very impressed with the level of detail that's here. The height and proportions match what's seen in the show closely enough, but I think maybe the arms and legs could be a bit shorter to really nail the look. The figure also comes with the monkey tail, which completes the figure's main appearance. I do love how this fur sculpting turned out for it, but the tail does have a slight problem, which I'll address later when we look at the articulation. Now that the entire figure is finished though, let's take a closer look at all of the details. For starters, the head is an accurate depiction of Kid Goku, complete with the spiky hair and a serious face showing he means business. The facial features of this figure came out very clean, and it looks like it was pulled directly out of the anime or any other source material you may find this character in. One problem this face does bring to my attention is the color of the hair and belt around his waist. Kid Goku's eyes and eyebrows are dark black, while his hair and belt appear lighter in tone, which shouldn't be the case, especially if you look at references from the anime. Honestly, the shift in color doesn't bother me a whole lot, but I do feel it is worth mentioning. Plus, if I work up the nerve to start customizing my figures, I might actually try to darken these areas and make them more accurate. When it comes to Goku's hair, it does a great job of capturing that spiky look, but do be careful because the ends are very pointy and kind of painful if you're not too careful. What won't bring you pain though is liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more action figure goodness. The figure's body is the same as its predecessor, but the gi, wristbands, and shoes are darker than the fun, lighthearted Kid Goku figure released before. This is Goku's first version of his iconic orange gi, which features the turtle symbol of Master Roshi on the front and back. His gi is also well sculpted with wrinkles on the top and bottom half. Goku's shoes add the finishing touch to this figure with clean paint apps and sculpted soles that are a nice touch of detail. Overall, I think this figure looks nearly perfect, and I'm pleased with how it turned out, especially coming from a newcomer's perspective. However, this little guy could use an upgrade, and luckily, we have the accessories to help with that. So, Kid Goku is pretty rad on its own, but with some additional accessories, you can get him ready for ultimate combat. Your figure starts off with this serious face, but there's 3 more face plates to add some extra expressions. There are side eyes with a frown, side eyes with teeth showing, and this rage-filled face. If you were looking for a more happy set of expressions as seen with the previous release, this may disappoint you, but if you're all about combat and punching the living daylights out of people with your Dragon Ball characters, these are perfect. In addition to the faceplates, you have an alternate hairstyle that's fairly simple to swap around outside of the back piece that requires a little extra force to remove. In my opinion, the perfect face to pair this hair with is without a doubt the raging face. To add to the combat, you can swap his fist out with these arched finger hands, these spread open hands which are perfect for and gripping hands for his power pole. Speaking of the power pole, it does come with this figure and there are two accessories for it, a sheathed and fully extended version of the pole. The sheathed power pole is a key element of Goku's attire, so it's nice to have it included, and the details turned out great with this piece. To attach it, simply remove the face and hair, raise his arms, and place the strap over his shoulder, and you're good to go. What's neat about the sheath is you can also remove the pole from it to accurately show how it would look if he was holding the pole in his hand. As I stated earlier, Kid Goku does have a solid offering of extra pieces, especially for beginners, but it is lacking in comparison to the previous version, which had more items including the Nimbus Cloud and some additional hands that we don't see here. However, I still think you'll have a good time with the accessories included here, especially with the articulation. But before taking a look at that, let's see how Kid Goku sizes up to some other figures in my collection. SH Figuarts Kid Goku stands out about 4.7 inches tall, but to give you a better idea of its scale, let's bring some other characters into the mix. First up, we have SH Figuarts Son Goku Superhero. Having these two side by side does reveal a flaw in the scale because this kid version is nearly reaching adult Goku's shoulder. I think maybe if he was slightly shorter and the head weren't so huge, it would look much better side by side. Staying within the theme of anime, we have another SH Figuarts, Naruto Uzumaki. Then throwing a random character into the mix, we have a Marvel Legends Ultron figure, which I think shows a better depiction of how the scale should have been between kid and adult Goku. And for the final figure, we have the Mayfek Psylocke from X-Men. For the size of this figure, I was actually very impressed with its range of motion, but there were two things I wasn't too fond of. The head articulation lets you turn it left and right and make him look down a fair bit, but making him look up is nearly impossible. Kid Goku has zero range when tilting his head back, and I find this to be a problem because how will you get poses of him looking up at taller characters? It's just impossible. Goku's arms have butterfly joints letting you bring them forward. You can also raise them this high at his shoulders and rotate them. Plus, there's a 90-degree bend at the elbows, bicep swivel, and rotation and tilt in the wrist. The figure's diaphragm and ball joint waist give the figure some solid crunch forward, but the tilt back could use a little more improvement. You can also reposition his monkey tail, but do keep in mind that the tiny ball joint doesn't hold the tail's position in certain spots, so it is kind of finicky at times. For the rest of your figure's articulation, you can kick his legs up very high, which is awesome for fighting, push them this far back, and even do side kicks and splits. The legs also have thigh swivel, single jointed knees with rotation, and the feet have some movement that includes a toe hinge. Something to be aware of with Kid Goku's legs are these pieces right here, which are prone to falling off if you kick the legs up too high, so always be sure to reattach them. At first I thought this was like a quality control issue or something like that, but it is something that's mentioned in the instruction manual. I'm not quite sure why they chose to leave this piece like that. Maybe it's to help with the range of motion. If you know, let me know down in the comments. As for the actual posing part of this figure, you can get some sick combat poses and more, with the only hindrance being that his head can't look up, as I mentioned before. Other than that, I think this Kid Goku will leave a lot of people satisfied when it comes to the articulation side of things. Being a newcomer to the Dragon Ball universe both in terms of the media and action figures, I have to say this figure has been an absolute blast. This exclusive figure is truly remarkable in its attention to detail and how faithfully it captures Kid Goku's appearance from the anime. I am aware that the initial release came with more accessories, making it the superior choice. However, considering that this version seems to lean toward a more serious and combat-ready look, I believe this release is well worth it, especially if this is the aesthetic you're going for. The biggest drawback when it comes to this figure is probably just going to be the scale looking a bit off when displayed next to other Dragon Ball characters, especially the older ones, and again, there's no head tilt going backward. If not for that, this figure would be 100% gold. But despite these minor quirks, this Kid Goku figure is still a fantastic addition to any collection, especially when you factor in its more budget-friendly $36 price tag compared to the sky-high prices of the older release in the aftermarket. I am curious to hear your thoughts on this figure though. Do you own it, and do you think it's worth getting instead of the original? Let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you all in the next one with more action figure goodness. Peace.